hello. Hello, hello. Well, hello. What's that from Georgia? Kelly, hi. How are you? I know, Alex Cross. Told ya. I'm in the I feel like going live stage again. I go in waves. Going live is literally like my favorite. Hi, Rhonda. Rosalia, hello. Hopefully everybody's able to chit-chat. So glad you're in live today. Needed a little pick-me-up today. Well, love it. Just in time then, huh? What's going on in your world that you need a zhuzh, as I like to say? I have all these like statistics like running at the top of my live stream, but I'm like, I don't have a clue what any of it means, to be honest. I love your videos. Thank you for helping me so much. Oh, well, thank you so much. What is that? Moonlights? Anime? Emmy? Moonlights and Emmy, maybe? Or anime? No, Emmy. Thank you. That was very nice of you. Thank you very much. It feels like a coffee day or hangout friend time, and I love it. Alex, I love that that's how you feel, because that's how I want it to feel. Like you're just chilling. Normally we're chilling downstairs in the living room and I'm on the sofa. Today we're chilling upstairs in the bedroom and I'm sitting on the bed kind of in a weird position because I'm trying really hard not to shake the camera. But I'm sitting in a, I need to sit up more. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Hey, Hannah. Nez or Naz. Thank you. Been really good at living in the end, but let the 3D get to me about 20 minutes ago. Oh no, Andrea or Andrea, what's wrong? What happened? What in the 3D has bothered you? Why don't you tell me, and then I will make you feel better. How about that? What's a good piece of advice to not feel so separated from SP? Like, how do I return? Well, first of all, Sarah, you might feel separated, but that's all it is. It's a feeling. It's not a truth, just a feeling. And more than likely, it's something in the 3D that you're letting mean to you that you're not in connection. Like, obviously, the most common is when someone feels as if they're in no contact. If you are new to my side of the world, I do not believe there's a thing, no contact. In other words, I'll ask questions. I mean, I'll answer questions regarding no contact. I'll make videos about no contact. But it's because I want people to think of it the way I do, because I think the way I think about it is better. Just kidding. Just kidding. Not really. But it's because there's no such thing. So when you're feeling separated or in separation with your specific person, it's because you're think of it like sliding back into your the senses, your 3D physical senses, what was given to us to be able to operate and maneuver in 3D reality, but to not use and feel what they're sensing is fact. Your imagination, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but your imagination is fact. You're in connection with your specific person 24/7. 24/7. So your person is thinking what you're thinking based on your state. So when we feel separated, when we feel, I'm just going to start making up different examples. When we feel like they, he or she doesn't want you, they're thinking in that context. No, I don't want that bitch. No, I can't be. I'll deal with her later or him later. I'll deal with that later. I don't have time to talk to him or her right now. I don't know if I'm really feeling it. But when you are thinking from the perspective of you are a version of yourself that is experiencing love, that is being chosen, that is being desired, pursued by SP, well, then that's what their thoughts are about you. But you're never really separated. So whatever state you're in right now that makes you feel like you are in separation, make a new choice. Make a new choice. And your conscious thought, your conscious decision is your little reality jumping vehicle. It's how you're getting from reality to reality. I know that does not feel like that at all, but it is. So perceive reality as being connected to your person. Think about what it would feel like to hear from them, to spend time with them, so that we know that that's what you're sending to them, like that thought transmission wave, right? The wave to that person, to your person, so that you can hear from them. See what I'm saying? Kim, how do we manifest hot guys? By seeing yourself as a version of yourself that only brings in hot guys. That's all that comes to you. Right? You weed out the ones you're not interested in and only bring in those that are attractive. See yourself like in imagination. Imagine yourself being in the predicament of not knowing which one to pick. Oh, what a terrible position that would be in, right? To be stuck in a place of not knowing which one to choose from. What would it feel like to be that version of yourself? Now, wouldn't that be fun? Think about that so that reality can reflect that to you. Thank you for the gifts and stuff that everybody's sending. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. What's up, Beyonce? How to manifest an apartment even if you have zero savings and live hand to mouth. Okay. I know personally, because I have been there, I've been in that position, that it is, ooh, thank you, ghetto. I know that it is because of the senses that we feel like our circumstances, our current circumstances, we're a million miles away from a version of ourselves that is experiencing being in a place you want to live. Having money, having abundance, so that you're not worried, that you're not having to live paycheck to paycheck. I know that when things feel a million miles away, that resistance, you can feel it. You can feel it in your body. But I also know how to get on the other side of that. And I'm no different than you. So you can do this as well. So you want to allow yourself, or think of it as you're letting your imagination run free. You're allowing yourself to just think about or ponder what life would be like if you didn't have those things limiting you. Because those things aren't limiting you. It's your state of consciousness. It's your perception that they are that keeps them coming in to your reality mirror. So for just 1 minute, think about living in an apartment that, now, let me rephrase. Don't bother just thinking of an apartment that you think you might be able to acquire. No, allow yourself to really run away in your imagination. Think of it as escaping. If you had nothing to worry about, if you had abundance, if you had enough money that you were now in a position where you weren't living paycheck to paycheck, what the hell do you think that would feel like? If you had nothing to worry about, if you were completely safe and secure to live in a place of your choice, and to have so much money in the bank that you don't have to worry about money. It's not even something that comes into your mind. It's such a normal, it's such a given that you always have money. You can buy and do whatever you want. What would that feel like? And you can't use the logical, literal answer of, I don't know. Because I've never had that. I've never experienced that. And I don't know anybody who's experienced that. So I don't know how it would feel. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. The fact that the desire to be out of the circumstance you're in means there's a part of you that does know. It would probably feel safe, secure, confident, happy. There's a word that resonates with you. So allow yourself to get into that imagination of yours, thinking about life as that version of yourself. And the more you do it, the more that is going to feel normal. And you're going to start seeing things in reality change. Maneuver themselves around like pieces on a chessboard getting moved around. And there might be things happening that you don't even understand or see how they connect to you being that version of yourself. But I'm telling you, if you start every day identifying as the self that is living in a place he or she loves, has enough money in the bank that you don't have to worry about anything. Life is rearranging itself to bring you to that, or to make that be true. And it's the logical mind that comes in and says, I can't even imagine how that would ever happen. I don't see how that could ever work. Well, good, logical mind, because it wasn't your business to begin with, right? It's not the logical mind's business to figure out how something can come to you. If you've got the desire itself has the means to make itself true. All right, that's how Neville Goddard talked about it. That the desire itself, because of infinite intelligence, because of God, universe, higher power, source energy, moonbeams, whatever you believe is our consciousness. It has, the desire itself, it has its own perfect plan on how to unfold, on what chess pieces to move to bring you to that reality or to be that version of yourself. So you don't have to worry about it. You might not have a clue how that could ever be possible in your life. But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to know. You don't have to have the damn plan. You just have to allow yourself to imagine it. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it is how it works. And usually, let me just say this too, when we're facing circumstances that feel really uncomfortable, you are being stretched in that moment for a reason. For a reason. And there's a reason why that desire is coming to you. It's because you're meant for it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's because you're meant for it and you're being stretched into that version of yourself. Your awareness is being expanded for you to become the version of yourself who can experience whatever it is your heart's desire. I know it sounds too good to be true. I also wish that I had recorded more of my life way back when that was my life too. And I'm telling you, I didn't have a clue how life was ever going to be anything but that. And life took me through a series of experiences, circumstances that did exactly what I just described to you, and life changed. See what I mean? So that's what to do. Hi, Kim. I don't know how to change myself. Well, that's also the beauty of this, Neville's goddess. Now, I'm thinking since you chose a username like Neville Goddess, that you do know. You clearly have an interest in Neville Goddard. So you know. You do. You just don't trust yourself. You don't trust that your way is the right way, which is what everybody does. Everybody questions themselves. And maybe because reality isn't presenting to you what feels like evidence that your life is changing or that you are changing, but it is, because it's always happening. So how do we change ourselves? We simply allow ourselves to imagine who we want to be. And again, life will present things to you to aid you into becoming that self. Like techniques and tools aid you to fit yourself into the new state, or the state desired, the wish fulfilled state. Same thing's happening with our lives. So when you're thinking, I don't know how to change myself. Well, wait a minute. I don't have to worry about that. I just have to consciously think about the state I want to be in. Well, how do I do that? I think about what I want. I think about how I want to feel about my life. I think about what I want each area in my life to look like. What things I want to experience in each area of my life. I do that. I keep allowing myself to go into imagination and do that. That's how my state gets moved. I naturally begin to shift the state. See, let me just say this. I know that there are 10 million gazillion manifestation channels. I know this, on multiple platforms. So everybody's got their little piece on what they think is the right way to do something. But the bottom line is, all the opinions, all the videos, okay? They're just repeating the same regurgitated bullshit over and over and over. The same thing. The only thing you ever need to concern yourself with, sincerely, truthfully, what do you want? How do you want to feel about your life? And let yourself think about that. Everything else will take care of itself. We as humans feel like we need to be doing something to make the change. And that's where we humans logically fuck this up. This is where we fuck it up. If we would just let ourselves think about the life we want. See, but that sounds too simplistic, doesn't it? Okay, just think about the life I want. Okay. But yeah, that simple little thing. Think about who you want to be. Think about what you want to experience. Everything else is going to naturally rearrange itself in logical ways in the 3D within yourself. It'll all take care of itself. There is nothing else for us to do. And anybody that says any different is discussing things from their conscious awareness, their place in consciousness. And by place, I just simply mean from their understanding, which is why there's so many different people talking about it from their level of understanding. Well, let me just tell you from my level of understanding. I've been doing this a long time, long before I had a channel. You just got to think about who you want to be. Everything else comes naturally. Everything. You don't have to force yourself to feel anything. You don't have to force yourself to do anything other than think. And it's really nothing more than that. Everything else taken care of. Literally. So triggered. Just manifested a man similar to my ex. Just blocked him. So, all right. What are you triggered about, though, Alex? Why would that trigger you? Now, was your ex kind of a jerk? So you don't like your ex, which is why it's an ex. So did it bring back bad memories? Or were you trying to manifest somebody else and the wrong person popped in your reality? You are welcome, Neville's goddess. I like your username. I had a terrible experience with my ex. Oh no. Okay. I'm thinking about that for a moment. You had a terrible experience with your ex. So are we very consciously aware that we never want to experience those things ever again? I think it would benefit you to really think about, how do you want to be treated in a relationship? What kind of a person do you want to come in and pursue you, choose you, love you? Think about those things. Think about who you would be as a woman who is experiencing exactly what she wants in love. And again, if you have a specific person in mind, fine. What version of them? How are they coming in and treating you? And I'm telling you, this does not have to take you a very long time for this to happen. Think about who you would be if you were being treated like the goddess that you are. Because it can happen. So you can experience good things in a relationship. Kim, I have felt so leveled up in my power God state lately, and it feels so magical. I am so happy to hear this. Phoenix risen. This is wonderful. Very, very good. So what state would you say you're in? I'm nosy, and I just like to hear what other people experience. And to be honest, as you rise in consciousness, it's only going to get better and better and better. So if you're already feeling good, can you imagine what you're going to be experiencing as you keep rising? Right? Instead of being in the dense states, I call them just the lower states. They're dense, they're heavy, yucky, miserable. We don't want to be in those states. SP is the first one to watch all of my story on TikTok, but I'm still blocked on Instagram, Kim. Okay. So he's watching your stuff on TikTok, but he's blocked you on Instagram. And I bet, this is just me, my own personal guess here. I bet that because you're aware, and I'm wondering if you're still checking. I hope you're not checking. You're just very aware. And that's in the front of your mind. I'm blocked on Instagram. I'm blocked on Instagram. I'm still blocked on Instagram. And you're probably giving that a meaning. And I bet your SP doesn't really even want you to still be blocked on Instagram. But because that is, what you're primarily aware of, it's probably on his end, he's forgotten all about it and just hasn't unblocked you yet. Because clearly, if it was, I just don't like that girl, I just don't want her, you'd be blocked here. See what I mean? So can you imagine if you started thinking like your person just can't keep away from you? You're the version of yourself that experiences that, being pursued, being unforgettable. What would it feel like to be that? What would it feel like to have your person show up and just, can't get enough of you? Would the Instagram thing even matter? No, because you'd get unblocked naturally. Think about that. There's not confusion here. It's what you're aware of. So, do you believe that your person can choose you? Are you someone that can be chosen? Now, we surface level will probably say, well, yeah, of course I am. Yes, I can be chosen. Of course I can. But do you believe your specific person is going to choose you? Does that version of him or her exist? Do you really believe it exists? Do you really believe SP can ever be the one to shower you with love, attention, and affection? And can you accept it? Can you accept that love? Can you receive it? Or is there still fear? Because again, it's not because I have her blocked over here, but not over here. No, I can't stand her, but I'll take a look at her on TikTok. I don't like her, so we'll keep her blocked on Instagram, but let her run free on TikTok. No, it's not because he doesn't like you or she. I don't know if you said he or her. What if I went to the salon and I hate how my hair turned out? It looks horrible. What do I do? Oh, dear. Oh, God, that is just the worst, isn't it? Just the worst. Well, what do you want to happen? Did you get your hair cut too short? Wrong color? What happened? Because if it's like too short, all right, your hair grows like weeds. Your hair grows so fast. You are the version of yourself who is beautiful, luscious hair. Hair can be fixed, right? Hair can be fixed. We can change this. Nothing's permanent. Nothing is. Did you manifest your SP back? Yeah, you must be new here. Yeah. Yes, I have. Okay, I want my SP so bad, but we just can't get it right. I can't let that old story go. Why? Why, Breezy B? Why? Why can't you let that old story go? I'll tell you why I can't let that old story go. Because your state hasn't shifted. We got to get you into the state where you don't give a shit about the past. So what happened? What's the story? Did your person cheat on you? Did they hurt your feelings? Did they say something terrible that you just can't let go of? Yes, yes, and yes. Oh, the bastard. The bastard. Anyway. All right. So, I want you to stop saying that you can't get rid of the story. That's a must. No matter how convinced you are that you can't change the story, that you can't let it go. Yes, you can. Because honestly, you already are that version of yourself. That version of you exists. Remember, if you're newer to my channel, think of it like this. Every single one of you, your consciousness is like the center of the sun. Okay? And every single state of consciousness is attached to you like a sun ray, right? Thank you for the gifts. Is that Lena? So you got all these sun rays coming off of you. They're all the different versions of you, all the different states of consciousness. So you're that center. You being aware, you the thinker, you the observer is the center. But in the center, you wear glasses. And the glasses determine what state you're in. So you've been wearing the glasses of the version of you that finds it difficult to let the past go, to let stories go. We got to put on a new pair of glasses. Well, how do we put on new glasses, Kim? We think about who we want to be. That naturally changes the glasses for us. So you want to be a version of yourself that can let the past go. That you see there's no point. There's no point in hanging on to hurt. Now, I know that's not always easy, so I might talk flippantly, but that's just how I talk. I talk sarcastically. But, all right, whatever the person did. Now, I listed some things. I listed cheating and saying something terrible. I know cheating is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Not that I'm trying to minimize anybody else's experiences, but I feel for you there. That is heartbreaking. So, whether you were aware of conscious manifestation at that time or not, I find irrelevant, because we're not going to beat ourselves up because we experienced something shitty in 3D. But we are aware of how manifestation works. We experience our reflection, which is whatever state you were dominantly inhabiting. And each state is pre-packaged, ready-made. Each state has all the relevant beliefs necessary. So more than likely, because you experienced being cheated on, there was the not good enough belief. More than likely. Again, I don't know exactly all your details, but I always see the not good enough in a situation where cheating happened. And we have our various reasons. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I can't see your username, but thank you. Zoe? Is it Zoe? Zoe Lou? Thank you, Lena. So, first and foremost, have you forgiven your person for doing it? And I'm sure if you guys have tried to get together after this, that you have tried to forgive. I'm sure you have. So you're already, yes, but he keeps doing shit. Oh, he is a bastard. You keep bringing in a bastard version of him. It's not your fault. We're going to fix that. But, we gotta leave that reality, my friend. Okay? And we're going to do that right now. So we're going to think about, hold on, what? Oh, okay. Talisa, I'll be back to you because I want to talk about your hair stuff. But I want to finish with Breezy B first. So, first and foremost, again, that fucker keeps doing stuff. He's a difficult bitch, but only that version of him is, not his true self. His true self is unconditional love too, right? Every single one of us, our true self, our true core is unconditional love. Another way of saying that is unconditioned awareness, right? Pure, unadulterated consciousness. That's what we really are. You get to put the label on what that means to you. God, universe, blah, blah, blah. Infinite intelligence. All right. So the version of you who has always had the belief of being good enough, more than enough. The version of you who only has ever experienced true love. Not to say that you don't know what true love is, but you get what I'm saying. This version of you hasn't had their heart broke, has not been betrayed. Okay? What do you think it would feel like to be able to be in a relationship with a version of your person that hasn't done these transgressions. Now, again, yes, you have the option to revise the past if you'd like to. I'm not trying to say that you have to, but it's always there as an option. So I just feel like I have to say it to put it there. We can revise if we want. You don't necessarily have to, though, because the more you're allowing yourself to detach from what you've experienced or that reality, and the more you allow yourself to imagine the version of you who isn't experiencing the garbage that old version of your person presented to you, the more your eyes on her, on that version of you, it's changing time anyway. It's changing the past anyway. And I know I'm throwing you all over the place, but that's what we're doing. When we are focused on a different version of ourselves, that's changing or rearranging or revising time from our physical experience anyway. I know that can sound weird, but mark my words, you're going to understand what I mean. And one of the ways to know it is the past becomes muddy. Your past experiences, especially the shitty ones, the memories of that experience become more muddy, less clear, and we want that. That's what we want to happen, in my opinion. So we got to think about, and really this is all you need to do. Like if you notice, I never really sit here. Very, very rare do I sit here and tell you specific techniques, because they don't matter. You have to do what feels good to you. But you just thinking the thoughts, so really freely allow yourself to think about what it would feel like to be in a real, loving, fulfilling, committed relationship where you're treated with love and respect. What would that feel like? What would it feel like to see your specific person showing up and behaving in a way like that, and knowing you can fully trust them, that this is a version of them that doesn't keep doing shit like that shit version of them does? What would that feel like to be in that experience? What would it feel like to be in that reality where you're completely safe and secure? Because that exists. So the more you allow yourself to focus on that reality, the sooner we experience the jump. The jump to that reality is what I mean. And the sooner that dirtbag version of your person will quit their shit. Do you see what I mean? This is possible, Breezy. I talk to people all day long doing things and talking about things like this and fixing relationships. So I'm telling you, it can work. But you thinking about the desired reality more than what the current 3D is presenting to you, the sooner it moves. And I personally believe that is our influence on linear time. So again, the more natural and normal that new you, that version of you feels, and how do we make it feel more normal and natural? We think about it. We allow ourselves to experience it in our imagination, thinking about it. And another thing, we are all naturally inclined to do this. We've been doing it since we could think. We've been doing it since we were children, toddlers. You know, we grew up thinking that what we were doing up here was playing, pretending, fantasizing, daydreaming. But it's because we were taught that that was something not real. That was something fake. That the things we were thinking about were never going to happen because they were pretend, they were play. That is what put the blocker to them, the stopper, in a sense. We were limited. So you're pulling the stopper off. So if you were anything like me, I'll give you an example. When I first started manifesting my person, now, if you are new to my channel, anybody listening, my journey with my person started out first as new love. So I was manifesting new love. And from there, the journey take off. There were 2 solo vacations, 2 breakups. Well, we've had it all, okay? It's been a busy journey. But it's a good thing because it took me exactly to where I am right now. In the most amazing version of the relationship with the most amazing version of my person. So it's all worth it. But in the beginning, I would catch myself imagining, really felt like an inner conversation, bitching at him, being annoyed with him, mad at him because he didn't text when he said he was going to text, or he didn't text my morning text, or he didn't text it the way I wanted him to text it so that I would give it the meaning that he didn't love me. Like, I've got stories. If you're not new, you probably don't feel like hearing me repeat those stories because I talk about them all the time. But like, it's a thing on my channel. The morning messages, the morning texts. Because I gave him the meaning that he didn't love me. So when I was frustrated, hurt, angry at my person, I would have an inner argument with them in my mind all day long. Not understanding that, oh, that's me choosing a state of consciousness. Oh, that's me sending thought waves, thought transmission. Oh, that is bringing in a shite version of my person. Whoops, I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. I was a baby manifester. I scripted. I didn't do a whole hell of a lot of changing in my mind in the early days of my journey. That came later. But, I look at it now. I can look back in hindsight and see I was being brought all along to this version of me, to this version of the relationship. So all the terrible moments were just stretching me into the person I am now. So it's a good thing. It didn't feel good. Didn't feel good when I was living it. But hindsight's 2020. So you probably, especially since your person has hurt your feelings more than once, you probably have practiced those inner arguments too. And that could be why you've experienced it with him more than once. We all do it. So this is not me picking on you or judging you. Trust me. We all do it. Girl, every day. You and I should be besties because that was me every day too. That was me. And damn, was I good with those inner arguments. I was good. I had all the comebacks ready. I had all the things to say back. Or I would replay arguments that we had already had. I would replay and I would have new comebacks. And I should have said this. And then I would catch myself. Like I was so involved with my inner arguments that sometimes I wouldn't even realize it, but I was talking out loud too. And I would feel the passion of my anger, my hurt, whatever. Motherfucker. And then I would wake up. What am I doing? I say wake up as in coming back to reality. What am I doing? I'm literally talking out loud to myself, which for what it's worth, I still talk out loud to myself, but I don't care if that sounds crazy. I just do it. But as you become aware that you're doing that, this is good. Good that you're catching it. I'm saying good that you're becoming aware. That's evidence that you are shifting, that you are changing. So again, the more you bring your focus, your attention, your awareness back to the version of you want to be, the reality you want to be in, the version of your person that you want to be in the relationship with, the more often you bring it back to that, the sooner the outside changes. And I'm talking from experience. You wait and see how surreal the changes are going to feel for you. You will have moments where you question yourself, like, how did I get here? How did I get here to this reality? Because I have those moments still to this day. And I mean, they're good. They're good surreal moments. I mean that. I don't mean bad ones. Now, back to my friend here who got the bad haircut. I'm trying to find where we left off. Breezy, you talk out loud too. I love you. Oh my God, that is hilarious. Okay, so I'm trying to find my hairdo friend. Damn it, you might have to resend me something because I can't find your original message. I tried to read it quickly before I scrolled back and started chit-chatting back with Breezy B. You are welcome, Breezy B. So the only thing I thought it said at the end was that, okay, never mind. Thank you very much. Okay. It's the wrong color in the front. I look washed out. A updo looks so bad. Down. It's okay. Okay. What would you like to manifest specifically? Are we going to fix the front of the hair? You know, really, this can be handled so simply. First of all, wear your hair down. Let's take the physical inspired action to leave the hair down for now. And imagine yourself with a beautiful head of hair where your hair looks absolutely amazing and an updo. We don't want to say it looks washed out. I wish I could see it. The color will fade over time, or maybe they'll fix it for free, as they should be fixing it for free. That was a good one. It's true, they should. You don't even have to really consciously manifest this. You can just drive your ass right back to that salon and have them fix it. Yes, Sasha, the baddest. Can I manifest my way out of an autoimmune disease, even if it's hurting me physically? Absolutely, 100 million, trillion, gazillion %. Yes. Yes, you can. Now, as far as you experiencing pain, first of all, I'm sorry you're experiencing pain of any kind. I'm sorry for anybody experiencing pain, honestly. But let me just tell you that you being aware of the pain is not going to stop you from manifesting the healing, or whatever words, because I know sometimes that phrase, the healing or healing, having to heal, might sound triggering because it's making you think you have to go through a really long-winded process. And that's not what I mean when I say it. I mean the version of you who is free from this, free from it. So also, it's what you believe is possible for yourself. So you want to be reaching for the version of you who believes it's possible that you can free yourself from this disease. Now, I know the logical mind might say, well, how am I going to do that if I'm feeling the physical pain? I'm aware that I'm having physical pain. That's okay. You can be aware of that. So I think this is a good question, because this is a message, in my opinion, that gets very misconstrued in the manifestation community. Kind of like, we'll use a very more common example, such as if you're aware your bank account's in the negative. If you're aware that, what's an SP example? Your SP has had a third party. Now, I know what most of the original mystics, I'm not talking about YouTubers, I'm talking about original mystics, like Neville, Goddard, Genevieve Beren, Napoleon Hill, Joseph Murphy, blah, blah, blah. The idea, their message, I'm summarizing it in Kim style, is to get your mind off of it. Get your mind onto the reality you want to be in. Get your awareness off of what's happening. But where that message gets misconstrued is, it's not that you can't know. It's not that you can't be aware of what's already happened, or if you're still currently experiencing the symptoms, the physical pain. For someone manifesting money, that you're not sure where the money is going to come from to pay a current bill. Okay? It's not that you can't be aware that something uncomfortable is happening in your current 3D reality, or that you're experiencing anxiety, other feelings and emotions in regards to what's happening in the physical world. It's not that you can't know that. No one expects you to just completely erase that out of your mind. And if that were a requirement, no one would consciously manifest. I would be a broke ass, single ass bitch. Okay? And I'd also still weigh 300 pounds. 300 plus pounds. Okay? I'm still manifesting weight loss. I still am. But I've gotten 100 plus off of me. So none of that would have happened for me because I was aware. I was very aware. All the ups and downs in my SP journey, I couldn't just eliminate thinking about the badder stuff. No. So you might still be experiencing physical pain. Let me give you another example. I know we have people from all over the world. So I'm not sure what like driver license rules are for every country. I just going to talk about the state of New York, so that's where I'm from. To get your driver's license, you have to take a test. You have to get a driver's permit first. Then you need more practice time, then you take a test, and then you get your driver's license. So we can look at this both ways. Well, you could be practice driving, maybe with a parent, a friend, a family member. Practice driving. You're aware as you're doing the practice driving, but you're on the road, actually driving on the road around other vehicles. You can be aware that you don't have the license yet, but you're aware that you're gonna have it. You're going to get the license eventually. So you can be aware that you don't have it yet, the physical healing, but you're aware that you're going to. Now, maybe you're someone, again, keeping with the driver's license example, some people don't pass the first time they take that test. Does that mean life is over? This is never going to work? No. It's upsetting. It's frustrating. Feeling the physical pain. Being aware that you might still have to go to doctor's appointments. They're not fun, especially if we fear they're going to give us bad news. So those aren't fun experiences. But guess what? You're going to live through them. Just like person getting their driver's license lives through failing the test a few times. But they know they're going to get their outcome. They know they're eventually going to get that driver's license. And you are eventually, you're going to experience complete healing and freedom from pain. It is absolutely doable. We have had, just in my side of the internet, just in the Manifesting with Kimberly HBIC community, we've had so many people have cancer disappear, completely heal, in all different ways of an unfolding. And that's making me feel like there's another topic we need to talk about, is how an unfolding happens. You know, like this, a health manifestation, healing yourself from this autoimmune disease. The world, the 3D world could have, responses like, maybe it's impossible. It's impossible to do that. It's impossible to get rid of this. It's impossible to get rid of that. No, that's what the 3D world says. That's not what God, universe, infinite intelligence says. If you can even consider thinking the thought of being free from pain, being free from the disease or the symptoms of the disease, however you want to word it, then it must exist. A version of you without it exists. And maybe you think, maybe it feels too resistive to think of yourself completely, gotten rid of the disease. Maybe that feels too far away, too resistant. So then don't go there. Go to the version of yourself that isn't experiencing symptoms. I believe the word might be really in remission. Reach for that version and then go the distance. I'm saying whatever feels least resistive for you. But we, again, just in my own little HBIC community, we have had countless health manifestations. When you're doubting, when you're feeling worried about it, check out Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is the master when it comes to medical turnarounds. We are a brilliant supercomputer. Just a little bit of, we could say rewiring of this brain. We can change anything. There's been people who were never supposed to walk again, walking again. There again, multiple cancer diagnoses. Suddenly the cancer is gone. Happens often. So why couldn't it work for you too? Now I'm so glad I found your sites. Well, thank you, Larry. Is it Larry? Listen, if I said it wrong, don't be offended. I can mispronounce my own damn name. That's how much I mispronounce it. I should stop identifying with doing that, but I do. It's just who I am. Why I keep thinking that he can be with someone better. Oh, what did you just say? You're welcome, Sasha. What in the Sam hell did you just say? Why I keep thinking that he can be with someone better. I'll tell you why, because you got the not good enough belief. How dare you say that? Who's better than you in your own damn reality? Who's better than you? How about no? He's so lucky to have you. He's so lucky to encounter you. Who the hell is better than you in your own reality that you're in charge of? Head bitch in charge. Why do you think I say that? Because that's who you are, the head bitch in charge of your reality. There's someone better than you? How can you even think that? No, I'm also being a little sarcastic. I'm teasing you. Don't feel bad for putting that comment in the chat. I'm just saying though, you should feel like you are the toppest, the baddest, the most important. No one above you in your reality. That not good enough belief is alive. We need to choose a different state. So when you feel like that, when those thoughts are coming in that he could get someone better, don't get me wrong. Listen, let me just say, because I know some of us out there think similar thoughts. And you might not mean it from a place of you're not good enough. You might have that thought because of the be humble belief. So again, I don't want anybody to walk away from my live stream hearing, I have the not good enough belief. I don't want you to feel that way. Some of us were raised to be humble. Be humble. Don't think your shit don't stink. Be humble. There's always someone out there better than you. Always. There's always someone better. There's always someone just as pretty or just as handsome. So be humble. Listen, not that being humble maybe is like a terrible thing. That's not what I'm trying to say. But when you think you're not good enough, when you think that you're less than, that's when it's a problem. Okay? So I'm not trying to send people out to be snarky, arrogant twats. I'm just saying you should know your worth. And you should know what you're worthy and deserving of. And you should think that when you are wanting to be in a relationship with someone, that you are worthy and deserving of that person thinking that they hit the jackpot with you, that you're bringing something amazing to that person's table, to that relationship. See what I mean? I also get like super defensive of this one. This is why I'm slamming you with this, because I used to feel the same way. I used to think the same way. And, you know, especially when I weighed over 300 pounds, I definitely did not think much of myself. The inner talk in here was pretty awful. So if I feel like anybody is talking not so nice to themselves, I get very mama bear-ish, where I don't want you to think that way. I want you to think good about yourself, because you'll start experiencing the results of that thinking better about yourself. You will. I don't know what I just said. Oh, damn it. Hold on one moment. I don't know why it does that. I don't know if you guys can see it when it happens either, where TikTok wants me to do something on the screen to say that I'm here. I have to fit a puzzle piece in. Do you guys see that when it comes up on the screen? I was triggered by the words of my SP yesterday, and I kept affirming today. What were the words? I'm interested to hear. Mama Bears, let's unite. I am the same. Hell yeah. How can I better stay in the wish fulfilled? By thinking about that reality, by thinking about who you would be experiencing that reality. Thinking about literally incorporating your senses to when you're thinking about it. So for example, again, whenever you hear me say, think about who you want to be, think about that reality, I don't mean that you have to have a picture perfect, super clear picture in your mind. You know, I know not everyone thinks like that. We all think in pictures. But that isn't for you to stress out over getting a perfect visual. It's just think about who you would be. Think the thought. Who would I be in the reality, experiencing whatever it is you're manifesting? Now, let's say, for example, because I said incorporate your senses. If you're manifesting a specific person, and let's just say the SP is a man. Well, no, or a woman, because a woman can wear cologne too. I was going to say that imagine sitting on your sofa, on your couch. Imagine sitting next to your specific person. So right now, think about it. If anybody out there is manifesting a specific person, I want you to think about you and that person sitting on the couch. Now you're sitting right next to each other on the couch. See if you can sense their leg against your leg. When we're sitting on the couch. See if you can feel the sensation of their leg touching your leg. Even if it's just the heat from their leg. See if you can sense or imagine holding hands. So think about holding hands with that person. Holding hands. See if you can think about their hand in your hand right now. See if you can sense it. Sense the touch of their skin. Sense the warmth of their skin. See if you can smell their cologne. Hold on, let's get this shit to stop. Stop asking me. This is driving me nuts. Decline. No. Okay. Okay. See if you can smell their cologne. Or their perfume. Whatever your person wears, if you even know. And you don't have to know exactly what cologne or perfume they wear. Maybe you have a favorite for them to wear. Maybe you already know, right? I think all men's stuff is called cologne though, right? Right? We don't call, right? Or am I wrong? Why do I think that men's perfumes are called cologne? And is women's perfume ever called cologne? I don't think it is. I don't know why I'm hung up on this. Someone's got to answer that. Isn't cologne just for men? But I have seen eau de toilette and eau de parfum on men's stuff. Oh, hi, ADHD. That's me. I'm sorry. I'm so caught up in that. All right. It's perfume for women and cologne for men. Okay. I thought so. I'm like, what? All right. So if your person, but sometimes women wear men's cologne. I know I can be guilty of it. Some of them smell so good. I'm like, damn, they would smell good on me. Yes. Give it to me. Oh, my poor boyfriend. Just so you know, if he buys a cologne that I like, my ass goes in there, right over here, and I squirt some on. I don't care. If I like it, it smells good on me, I'm wearing it. It's going to smell different on me anyway, right? It's going to mix with my anyways. I keep thinking that whenever I might tell you guys secrets, that I'm always thinking, watch this be the one time that his ass is watching my live stream. And hears me talking. Because he's right downstairs, obviously. He's in the living room. All right, anyway. So, I think it's Neville who calls this spiritually sensing. Because you're experiencing the senses mentally instead of out here, 3D physically. So, see if you can smell with your mental or spiritual senses their cologne. Now, let's say that there's something you want to specifically encounter or experience with your specific person. Or maybe you're someone that does like to visualize and you have a visual or a picture of doing something with your person that equals to you that it manifested, that you guys are officially together. If you have one of those, if you have a specific scene, like, for example, if you're manifesting being married to your person, well, then maybe your visual is thinking about the wedding reception party with your person. Then you know you two are married now, right? If you're using that, see if you can incorporate your senses. Now, I know that Neville Goddard, the reason why he suggested getting your senses involved, because there's a much better chance that you're thinking from the state as opposed of thinking of the state. So again, I'm not trying to get us to split hairs on this one, okay? Simply thinking about who you want to be can be just enough to get you into that state. So don't panic if you didn't understand what I just said. It's okay. But wait, should I think of the marriage in the future or the past? Any way, really? And let me explain why. I do know that there are some opinions on whether you should think of what you're manifesting. You should think of it as you've already experienced it, so that we're not keeping it in the future. So like the future wedding. I'm here to tell you that that is a limited belief. That is not a fact. It does not matter how you think about your manifestation, past, present, future. Doesn't matter. And we can use my driver's license analogy again to help prove that to you. Think again, I live in New York, so I only know the licensing rules of the state of New York, but you have to get your driver's permit first. And then you got to do some practicing driving on the road with somebody who is licensed before you can take the driver's test and then the road test to get your official driver's license. Well, the whole time you're driving around with a permit. A permit means you can only drive. You can only be behind the wheel if a licensed person is sitting next to you in the front seat. That's New York's rules. I don't know about any other states. But the whole time you've got your damn permit and you don't have your license yet, you are thinking about how you are going to have your license. You're going to get your license. It's in the future to you while you're driving around with your permit. But it still happens. I know that when I was a sweet 15-year-old, I couldn't wait for my sweet 16 to get that permit. Right? So the permit was out in the future. That happened. Then once I got the permit, it would bug my parents to take me driving because I was thinking about the future version of me who would have her driver's license. And guess what? It manifested. It happened. I didn't know about manifestation then, but I'm using that as an example to show you it doesn't matter. If you have the wedding in the future, then the wedding is in the future, but that doesn't mean physically limited to. Truthfully, no matter what you think of, it's all coming from the same place. Even your past memories. They're no longer really existing in I should reword that. Your memories are coming from the same place that your future experiences are. They're all coming from infinite intelligence. Infinite, what's the word that I'm drawing blank on? There's another word. They're all coming from that. And I know we have been conditioned to think of our memories much differently. But they're all coming from the same place in consciousness. So it doesn't, long story short, it doesn't matter. You think of it in the future, you think of it happening yesterday, does not matter. The pictures you're thinking of, again, past, present, future, does not matter. The pictures you're thinking of, they hold the same power, the same weight that the all does in imagination. It's all a possibility to be manifested. Now, I know anybody out there who is unsure if they accept that there is no linear time. You don't have to necessarily believe and trust that in order to manifest. I just want to say, because if you're someone that still struggles with the idea of there is no linear time, don't worry. You're still going to manifest. It took me a long time to buy into the time thing too. It didn't stop me from manifesting. Just saying. He's in Miami, me in Paris. But I'm coming to, I don't know what that's say. Mia? What's Mia? Miami Beach? Miami? I don't know. Soon. I'm scared he won't ask me to hang out because of no contact. Why? Well, no, you answered me why. Why? Because of no contact. You're still in contact, though. You're not really in no contact. You might, in the physical 3D reality at this moment, not have a text or a call from this person, but you are not in no contact. Now, why do I get so tough on that one? Because it sounds like I'm splitting hairs. I know it does, but it's because it's impossible to be real. You're in constant contact, constant connection with your person. So you have nothing to be afraid of, my friend. You might not have experienced a text message or a phone call recently in the literal, logical, 3D physical reality. Okay, so I believe you. But even with no text, even with no call, you are still 100% connected. 100%. So this, I'm afraid. I'm afraid because we've had no contact. So that's the reality I believe I'm in. That's just like saying I am in the reality where I don't communicate with my person. And you're saying now, I am in the reality where I don't communicate with my person and I am afraid. This is the version of me. I am afraid I won't see him when I come to, I think you said Miami, but I'm guessing. That's who I am. That's who I believe I am. Well, all right. Now Kimberly just told me that I'm not in no contact, that I'm still connected to him. So I just have to think about spending time with him in Miami. And what would it feel like to spend time with him in Miami? We can even go as specific as imagine getting a text from him and look at that text and see it say, let's spend time together when you're here. Let's get together when you're here. Let me know when you land and we'll get together. Start thinking about that. No more, no contact. Again, honey, I'm not picking on you. I want you to see the bigger perspective. You're always in contact with him. And the more you're thinking thoughts that are more beneficial to you, the better he's thinking about you. The better thoughts he's thinking about you. So the more you think that you are, and this goes for everybody, the more you think about being a woman or a man who is loved, who is cherished, who is desired, pursued, the more you see yourself as that self, the more your person thinks in that fashion or in that context about you. If you're a woman or man who's loved, desired, pursued, chosen, whatever words feel good to you, then that's the reflection you experience in reality. Unless, of course, you're thinking specifically about your specific person that they don't want you, that they don't want to spend time with you, that they don't like you, that they don't love you, that they don't want a relationship with you. If we're thinking those kind of thoughts about the SP, then we got to change those thoughts too. But how do we do all that? How do we change all these thoughts? How do we change these beliefs? We think about who we want to be. We think about the reality we want to be in. We just allow ourselves to get into the imagination. By the way, we're in the imagination all the time. I just got to think about spending time with that person and knowing that person is in love with you and wants the same thing you do, and not allowing anything in 3D reality to tell you differently. Okay? You can do this. There's nothing to be afraid of. See, what you're doing is bracing for impact. You're preparing yourself to be disappointed. And you're doing that to protect yourself, to protect your heart, so that you don't get disappointed, so your feelings don't get hurt. And we're doing that because we have a belief somewhere that's saying it's possible for our heart to get crushed. It's possible. It's possible that this person can let me down. Maybe this person has let you down before, so it's possible to you. Well, we're reaching for the state where it's not possible. You expect only the best from that person. They love to make their feelings very clear to you that they want to be in the relationship with you. Okay? You are welcome, my friend. Is being the version of self with your manifestation just telling yourself mentally that's who you are? Let me say that again, okay? Is being the version of self with your manifestation just telling yourself mentally that's who you are? Yes. So for example, when I brought in my person in the version of my current relationship, so what the relationship looks like now, okay? When I brought that in, the only thing I was really, now I don't mean every single day, first of all, because there were some days where I might have thought about something a little bit more, but on the days, which was, I'm saying dominantly, the only thing I would say to myself is that I am new self. That's it. However, it is because I took the time to write down and define who new self was. Because I liked the phrase new self. That seemed easy to me. So that I knew every time I said it, I am new self. I knew. I would get a little flash of the sheet I wrote down out of my out of my journal. And I defined it. You know, who is new self, or the new self list. And I wrote down how I wanted to feel about each area of my life, how I wanted to feel about it, what I was experiencing in it, you know, what I thought about myself, who I wanted to be. You know, because I would ask my question. For me, waking up in the morning was the worst. Because number one, I'm already a grumpy bitch in the morning, naturally. But that's when the anxiety and, you know, no matter what I was feeling. So there were days where I felt like low. I would call it like depressive. Other days I would wake up just angry, sad. It would go back and forth. So morning time was my worst. Again, like, please understand, I'm still that grumpy ass bitch in the morning. That's still happening. That has not gone. That is who I've been my entire life. I'm not changing that. I have no desire to change that. My boyfriend calls me the little ornery bitch in the morning. Little, because I'm short. But anyway, so I wrote down how I wanted to feel the moment I woke up my eyes, opened my eyes, how I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel like I loved my life and that I was happy, that I was fulfilled in every area of my life. So that's what I wrote down. Okay, so I defined who I was. And then every day, I just thought that thought, I am new self. But because I like to keep it 100% honest, yeah, there were days where maybe I said a little bit more to myself. One of the things I remember saying too was, I finally understand what it feels like in the body to be chosen, to be wanted, to experience mutual love. I finally understand that now. And eventually, guess what happened? I understood that. I felt it in the body. It all made sense. Because that's who I was choosing to be. But that's all I was doing to become that version of myself. I am new self. I didn't put any more thought into that. Meaning I didn't force myself to do the 90 million trillion different techniques out there. I just did that. I look at that as embodiment, embodying the state. It's conscious words. That's it. That's why, when we talk about affirmations, affirmations can get you into a state too. It's the meaning and the feeling that the phrases give you, that the affirmation gives you. I am new self. Well, that gave me the feeling that I was in that new state. That I was that version of myself already. And I would say that here's another one I used to say too. I'm already her. I'm already her. I'm already in that reality. I'm there. I did it. And that's all I did. And it manifested. And clearly, it's been several years here. And have maintained. So I know it's enough. The beauty of conscious manifestation is whatever feels good to you will be the right way for you to manifest. So for example, there's robotic affirming. That is not for me. I am not a robotic affirmer. I don't want to be a robotic affirmer, but it works, right? And there are people out there who love robotic affirming. Guess what? That works perfectly for them. So that's the technique for them. That's the thing they should do. Not for me. I don't enjoy that. That does not feel good to me. That's not who I am. It's not my style. So I don't do it. But look at that. 2 different ways to manifest. I shouldn't say 2 different ways. 2 different techniques or styles. Yet they work. They both work. Successfully, I'm saying. So it's all about finding out what feels good for you, the individual, not what someone tells you in a video. Because you might hear something in a video that just doesn't resonate with you. And that's okay. Right? Everyone is manifesting the same exact way, which is becoming a version of themselves. They might not be aware that that's what's happening, but that's what's happening. Thank you. Is it Julia or Julia? Julio? I didn't see it. Thank you for the gifts. Lots of you sending hearts and all sorts of stuff. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. I'm sorry if I don't say thank you in the minute that it's happening. Like Christine, I'm saying it as it's happening. I'm sorry for that, but I do appreciate all of them. Julio from the Netherlands. That is friggin' cool. I love knowing that I am interacting with people all over the place, not just hanging out in central New York where I am. Thank you very much. Any advice for someone who has ADHD? Well, hello, Natasha. Have you met me? Have you met me? I have ADHD. Guess what? You want to know my opinion about ADHDers? Actually, ADHDers. And I actually don't mean just ADHDers. That's why I corrected myself. I believe anybody who is neurospicy, I consider ADHD as being neurospicy. ADD, for different, autism, anything neurospicy. I think our minds are already wired perfectly for manifestation. That's my opinion. And I want you to know that I had that opinion before I was aware I had ADHD. So it's not just because I have it that I think it. I thought it before that. And my opinion on that is because, at least from the experience of myself, knowing ADHD looks like for me, my mind is all over the fucking place all the time. I'm sure you can tell by how I interact with you guys. I'm all over the damn place. I can go off on tangents. So holding my attention, unless I am in hyper focus mode, then you can't get me to do anything but what I want to focus on. Because our minds kind of flutter all over the place, that's perfection for manifestation. And I know it might sound like it's the opposite of what we need, because we hear, put your awareness, put your focus on the who you want to be. I get that. But our minds, unless we're in hyperfocus, we don't stay focused on all the terrible, all the negative, all the fear. We don't. Our minds still distract us. Our minds still flutter. And I think that's to our benefit. Just saying. Okay, I know I'm going off on a tangent on that. As far as you having ADHD, do you have the belief that ADHD, and granted, I know everybody is affected by it differently, do you think it's hindering you to manifest? Because if you have that belief, we're gonna want to change that. We're gonna decide that no, it's perfect You're already wired perfectly for it. Your mind's already trained for it. And I do just want to say, I'm certainly not trying to make anybody who does not have neurospiciness, I'm not trying to make you feel bad or that your mind isn't made for manifestation. Truthfully, I think every person on the planet came here with the ability to manifest. Whether we want to do it or not, we're doing it unconsciously or consciously. So those of us who have ADHD, our minds are not limited, as far as conscious manifestation goes. It is not. Our mind is not ruining it for us. So if you feel always daydreaming, hi, isn't that perfect? Isn't always daydreaming perfect for manifestation? So, what I suggest is, unless you've already changed the meaning of daydreaming for yourself, if you've already changed it, then you ain't got to worry about it. But if you still see daydreaming as like a child, what we were taught as a child, that's just pretend, that's just play, come back to reality. What you're daydreaming about isn't realistic. You've got to get all that baggage off the definition of daydreaming, because daydreaming is visualizing. Daydreaming can be your manifestation technique. Just saying. Was there anybody else that felt limited because of their ADHD? Because if so, I want to make you feel better. I want to explain to you why you have nothing to worry about. I think daydreaming is visualizing, and for me, it's the best technique. I love that for you. And I agree with you, by the way. Totally agree with you. Okay. Me. You're saying me. I saw it looks like you're doing a heart with your hand for a username. Why? Why do you think it's holding you back? I need to work on my fears as my mind jumps back to them and the RSD is triggered. Okay, hold on, Natasha. I'm an overthinker, so manifesting and looking for the good and everything is really hard for me. Okay, so, all right. I want you to know that every part of you is already perfectly equipped to consciously manifest your way. Already equipped. Your, let's say, skills in using your imagination are already perfected. Now, you having the experience that your mind comes back to the fear, your mind brings you back to the fear, let me tell you something. That was me. I am the same way. When I have something bothering me, when I have something I'm afraid of, or, for example, when I got dumped more than once, my mind could not think about anything else but that. And I mean a 24/7 kind of stuff, where I felt, by my definition, I was in tears most of the time. There were very few moments that I wasn't either crying itself or being on the verge of tears. And I would say like a 24/7 pit in my stomach. And I used to think the same exact thing, by the way, too, is that I'm never going to be able to change this, my reality. I'm never going to be able to fix this. I can't think about anything else about it other than what's upsetting me. So my mind is just stuck on the bad, stuck on the fear, stuck on the negative, the doubt. So I had to, this is what I did, and it helped me anyway. And this came in the middle of a meltdown. Like I was in a triggered spiral. I got so upset because I was thinking the same thing about I couldn't get my mind to focus where it was supposed to. And I was beating myself up because I should be a better manifester. I shouldn't have a problem. I shouldn't be struggling. I shouldn't be afraid, blah, blah, blah. I, in the midst of a spiral, it's a little embarrassing telling this story now, but literally screamed out, fuck it. Fuck it all. I can't take this anymore. And I'm just going to tell myself that I am my new self. That's where that new self thing came from. It came from a spiral. Because of the same thing, I was so focused on the negative. And just because I had that moment of a meltdown screaming, fuck it, that didn't mean that my mind stopped focusing on the negative. That didn't perfectly fix that for me. It just got me to the place of I was tired of being afraid of all the things I was afraid of. And the pain of what I was in, what I was living. Because my 3D was, let's just say, on fire. It was on fire. Did not look good at all. I had nothing, in my opinion, in the 3D that was making me feel hopeful or feel just slightly better. I had nothing. I just said, fuck it. I'm not doing any more techniques. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to tell myself that I am my new self, that I am in the state. That's who I am. That's all I'm doing. And I don't care if I think too much about this or think too much about that. And I don't care that I feel sad. I don't care that I'm stressed out. This is going to work. I don't know how, and I don't know when, but this is going to work. And I would just remind myself of that every day. I didn't beat myself up for focusing on thoughts that weren't positive. I didn't put the pressure on my shoulders to do that anymore. I let myself run free. That's how I think of it. I ran free. I was tired of being afraid of my own mind. That was the best thing to ever happen to me. Just saying. And what ended up happening, I can tell you what happened now because it's in my past, right? It's in that hindsight. I naturally became better and better at bringing my mind back to who I wanted to be. It naturally happened for me. I didn't have to force. You're not going to have to force yourself either. So you got to start today by, we're going to stop judging ourselves. Okay? Today, you're going to stop judging yourself. You're going to stop worrying that your mind is on the wrong things. No more. You're going to stop making yourself or forcing yourself to think certain thoughts unless it feels good. It did not initially feel good to think about the reality I wanted to be in. The version of myself that I wanted to be. It didn't feel good thinking about that. That made me feel worse sometimes. It would upset me to think about the reality I wanted to be living. Because I believed, and it had everything to do with the state I was in, but I believed that my life was in such turmoil that thinking about what I wanted hurt. So I didn't. I just said, I am my new self. I am who I want to be, and I'm not doing anything else. And sometimes I would say those literal those words, and I'm not doing anything else. I know that sounds like, how the hell is that going to be helpful, Kim? Because when I would say it, I knew it held the meaning that it's okay that I have moments where I'm afraid. It's okay that I have moments that I doubt. It's okay if I felt shit and cried all day long. It's not going to stop me from experiencing what I want. I'm not going to let those things make me believe that they're in my way. And when you think about it, it worked because I was changing the meaning that I was giving where my mind was going. And again, all of that came from a spiral. It was a meltdown. So I'm assuming what you're feeling is similar to what I was experiencing. So if it can work for me, why couldn't it work for you? It can. It can. Demand avoidance comes into play for me, but I am working on not seeing that as a limiting factor. Good. I want you to think of it as, all right, I know there are little like nuances, other titles out there in regards to the different forms of ADHD. Not everybody experiences the same symptoms, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with autism. So I kind of see it like the 3D world, the 3D physical world has made having those things a negative. Anybody who's ever gotten like that title, that diagnosis, or diagnoses, like with more nuanced diagnoses, we've been made to feel like we have a limit of some kind. And I don't think we were meant to feel that way about ourselves. I believe we're limitless. So I don't like anymore to think of those things as that they're hindering me. Now, I'm not saying that there's not, again, I'm not trying to take away from anybody else's experience. I'm not trying to diminish what you've experienced if you are also someone with ADHD and autism or whatnot. I'm just trying to say that the things that we feel limited by, we have a choice of whether we're going to let them continue to limit us. Now, it might feel like we don't have a choice, but we do. We have a choice in the story that we tell ourselves. We have a choice in how we look at having these things, these titles, these labels. So I'm not saying we never experience moments where we might feel hindered or frustrated because of it. But I know how powerful our conscious thought is. So if we start telling ourselves a new story, that we're not being limited by the labels, well then just based on how manifestation works, well then we have to start experiencing evidence of our new story, if we'll allow it. And all I mean by that is if we'll give it a shot, if we'll give it the try to start telling a different story about the label and how it's been applied to us. Now, you might have evidence of how the labels have hindered you. You might have had experiences that your mind brings up to remind you. I have like a basic one, clutter piles. That's what I think of when I think of me and my ADHD, clutter piles. I don't like clutter piles, but goddamn, do I have some. So I've had to change the story of how I view them, right? Because I don't like them. And I used to make myself feel bad because I had them. I wanted them to be gone. But having the initiative to actually do it didn't happen very often. And then I would make myself feel bad because of it. So I started telling myself a different story. And guess what happens? In a natural, logical unfolding in 3D reality, number one, for me, it unfolded with I started to put less things in the clutter piles. And I would get random bursts of energy. We all know how it works with our minds. To start working at those piles. Little by little. And guess what? Less and less clutter piles. But I didn't force myself to go on a cleaning rampage. I started telling a different story. And it unfolded naturally. And that's what's happening with us no matter what we're manifesting. Everything is happening naturally. By the way, whenever I say naturally or in a logical bridge of incidents, I'm not trying to make anyone feel that must mean long linear time. Like this is going to take forever. No, that's not what I mean. We can have a natural unfolding and have it be 2 minutes. But it'll happen in a physical, natural way, because that's what we are. experiencing in the physical, right? Okay. I hope so. Hope y'all get that. I hate paperwork. Whoever you are, you're my best friend. What? Donna, you and me, best friends for life. Me friggin' too. Hate paperwork. Oh, I'm with you there. How do we persist even when the 3D shows us complete opposite? Trying to stay sane here. Okay, Jasmine. First of all, let's define persist. Persist, I think, incorrectly gets defined like you gotta shut down your feelings and emotions and pretend that you're going to ignore what's in 3D reality. You're going to persist through it. Or that you have to stay positive while whatever's happening in 3D reality. You got to stay positive. You can't let it bother you. Blah, blah, blah. All that. That's all not at all whatever I can't even talk. What I mean ever when I say persist. When I say persist, I simply mean that whatever you're experiencing in 3D reality, if it's the opposite, but I do mean anything you're experiencing in 3D reality. Number one, we don't have to understand 3D reality. And a lot of times we probably won't understand the 3D reality. But if we know that we're doing what we're supposed to, and by supposed to, I simply mean allowing ourselves to think about the reality we want to be in, the version of ourselves that we want to be. If we know we're doing that, then whatever's happening in 3D reality is somehow connected to us having it, to us getting there. So persist in the new story, persist in returning your focus, your awareness, your attention to that reality. You can be aware of what's happening out here. You can also let out your feelings and emotions. So persist does never mean pushing feelings down, trying to ignore something that's bothering you. No, that's not what we need to do. If something's bothering you, let it out. Chances are what you're letting out is you releasing it, which is only making it easier for you to be the new self. So whatever's got your attention, let's say you're manifesting. Thank you, Myrta. Thank you. If you're manifesting a specific person and maybe they keep canceling dates on you or something, you know, they make plans with you and then they just cancel at the last minute, and it's happened like 5 times in a row. Okay. How do we persist when that is happening? We do our best to think about who we want to be and what we are experiencing as that new version of ourselves. So in other words, thinking about spending the time with your specific person. Your mind is going to do its job and immediately remind you on how they canceled again, right? That logical 3D evidence is going to come right back into your mind. If it, inspires some emotions and feelings, let them out. And you remind yourself that I know what I'm focusing on. I know what my heart's intention is. I know what I want is to be the version of myself who's in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with my person. I know that's who I am willingly choosing to be. So if this fuckery is happening in my 3D, then I simply don't understand why it's here. And that's all it is. I don't have to pretend to be okay with it. I also don't have to keep my mouth shut to my person, meaning I can authentically convey the message that I'm not liking this. But I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying, but you're free to. You don't have to pretend to not be bothered by something. But I refuse to see it as hindering my manifestation. That I won't do. That's what persisting is. So, the logical mind is going to remind you again on how, they canceled another one. And it's going to give you a meaning, the meaning you've been giving it, for example. So let's say, again, I know I'm just making this example up, but let's say we've been giving that example every time they cancel. Well, they must not really want to spend time with me. Every opportunity they have to spend time with me, they're not doing it. They're friggin' canceling. So you must not want to be with me, right? That's the meaning. That's not persisting. That's persisting in the wrong story. So again, do you hear what I'm saying? That this is not you pretending to not be bothered. This is not you pretending that the thing that's happening isn't bothering you. It's you staying aware, alert, as the observer. I don't understand why this keeps happening because I know who I want to be. I want to be the version of myself in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. That's not what I'm experiencing because they keep canceling dates. But I know enough that if I'm focusing on a reality where they always show up for me and the opposite is happening, then somehow, some way, this opposite showing up somehow is moving me into being the version of myself in the relationship I want to be in. And I just don't logically understand how or why. But I'm going to stay persisting in my new state. I'm going to return to it anyway. I'm going to surrender the 3D. It's another way to detach. I'm surrendering it. I'm not going to try to figure it out. I'm not going to go out there and try to force 3D to change. Right? I'm not going to blow up SP's phone and say, why the hell do you keep canceling on me, you friggin' bastard? I'm not going to do that. I might be thinking you bastard, but I probably won't say that. But if they say something to me that opens up that doorway, I will be authentic and say, I find this really rude, bastard. But just saying, I'm not telling any of you have to go out there and say stuff. You just be authentic to yourself. So when the opposite, this goes for everybody, no matter what you're manifesting, if it's the opposite, if the opposite has shown up, this is a transcendence moment. This is the opportunity to choose the right reality. Think of it as your higher self testing you. Now, I don't think you're being tested, right? Nothing outside of us is testing us, but it helps to view it that way. Am I going to pass the test or am I going to fail it? Because if I fail it, I'm going to stay in the reality where that shit keeps happening. If I pass the test, I go to the reality where I get what I want. View it that way. Every time you make a decision of how you're perceiving reality, you are choosing the reality you want to be in. This is why I say when the opposite shows up, surrender it. Don't try to fight against it. Don't fight. This is where the word acceptance or accept gets confused in this land of manifestation. You know, I've seen videos where, you know, the person's talking about, you know, if something I don't want or if something I don't like shows up in reality, I'm not accepting it. I'm not accepting that. I hear people say, accept. Don't accept it. I'm going to get what I want. Yeah, I like your sass, but you're misunderstanding what accept is. Accepting what's in 3D reality. We'll go back to the SP canceling dates. Accepting that that's happening doesn't mean accepting it from the version of yourself that has the relationship. You're not accepting it and saying, this is okay that this is happening. It's okay if they keep canceling dates. this is the best I'm going to get from that person. No! Accepting what's in reality means stop fighting against reality. You clearly don't understand why this is happening. That's what's really at play here. So fighting against what we have out here in reality is judging and conditioning your own manifestation. So immediately fighting against it, that is screaming, you're in the state of, whether we want to believe it or not, of fear. And that's why you start fighting against what you don't want in reality. Because you're fearing. Period. When you just say fuck it and surrender. Don't go logical when I say that. Don't go logical. Surrender it means I'm not going to fight against it. I clearly don't want to have someone who's going to keep canceling dates. I clearly don't want to keep experiencing that, right? We're not saying we got to accept that in that fashion from the logical place. But I know I don't want to live in fear that I'm not going to get what I want. I want to live in the reality where I'm experiencing in reality my person showing up and choosing me and always spending time with me, not canceling friggin' dates. So if I start fighting against reality when that's showing up, I'm only anchoring myself to that reality. When I say fuck it and surrender and let it unfold and give it the meaning, I don't know why this is happening. I don't like that this is happening, but I know who the hell I'm choosing to be. So I know this stupid shit is clearly working to my benefit. So I don't have to be afraid that it's going to keep happening anymore because I'm not fighting against this. You're going to keep canceling dates? That's fine. This is who I am. I am the version of myself who was always chosen, always pursued, always loved. I get shown up for. I get shown up for. I don't get canceled on. I get shown up for. That's who I am. Guess what that's doing? That's keeping me, my conscious awareness, completely attached, anchored to the reality where I get the relationship I want. Because I stopped fighting with the other reality, trying to fix and fight against a reality that I don't want to be in. I don't want to experience being canceled on. I don't want to experience that. That doesn't feel good. Why? Because we're giving it a meaning, number one. But number two, the minute we start fighting with it, what have we done? We've left the reality where we want to be. When you are focused on the who you want to be and just allow yourself to keep going back to that, your SP don't have a damn chance but to start showing up, choosing you, loving you, spending time with you, doing the things you want because you stopped anchoring yourself to the wrong fucking reality. Okay, so I hope I have made acceptance very clear. Okay? We are not settling for less. We're not settling for, well, this is as good as it's going to get with this person. This is as good as they're ever going to be, so I'll just keep getting shit all over and I'll accept it because I don't think I can get any better behavior. That's not what anybody is trying to encourage anyone to do by using that words accept what's in reality. Accept what's in reality simply means stop fighting and trying to fix the reality that we want to quantum jump our asses out of. Okay? So that doesn't mean pretend it doesn't hurt your feelings. Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean you got to pretend to not be angry or disappointed. Doesn't mean that. I can feel my feelings and still get what I want. Because I know that when I'm having those feelings, I'm releasing them. That's what's happening. Man, sometimes I cry even when I'm angry. The tears are release. Haven't you ever noticed that after a good old-fashioned cry, you start to feel a little better? That's why you're releasing, you're transcending, you're moving into the self you want to be. Nothing out here, nothing out in 3D reality can prevent you from getting to where you want to be, from experiencing what you want. Nothing can. Okay? So when the opposite's here, fuck it. Surrender it. Don't give it a deeper meaning other than it's somehow, some way leading you to exactly what you want. Because it is. In all respects, it is. It's reality rearranging itself to bring in your desired reality. So make it easier for yourself by continuing to bring your focus back to the reality you want to be in. Remember, sometimes if the opposite is showing up, sometimes it's just because we don't see the bigger picture of how it leads us to what we want. I use this example all the time, so anybody that's been around my channel for a long time, don't get annoyed that I'm using it again. But man, when I manifested my breakups more than once, okay, dos, un, dos, trois, deux, that was the opposite to me. A breakup was the opposite of a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship to me. And I thought the world was falling apart, okay? I didn't want to function. I didn't want to wake up. It was terrible. I can look back in hindsight now and tell you, oh, it absolutely led me to the most loving, fulfilling, committed relationship and the most amazing version. It led me to exactly what I wanted. But I didn't feel like it when it showed up. When it showed up, it was the opposite. I was not happy. And what my instincts were was to start fighting and judging reality, fighting against it, refusing to accept that it was happening. No. When I finally got myself to the place of, you know what, fuck it. I'm not letting what's out here tell me that I can't have what I want. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fight with it. So in other words, I'm not going to call and beg, please come back. Please come back to me. No, not doing it. I'm going to keep my focus on the life I want, the relationship I want, the version of my person that I want. That's what I'm going to do. And if it doesn't feel good to think those thoughts, then I'll go to the least resistive state. So the least resistive, because for me, initially, it was too painful to think of that reality. So then I focused on the version of me who just felt peaceful, neutral, calm. And when I got to that state, then I went and focused on the state I wanted, the relationship I wanted. And guess what started happening when I detached? When I detached and stopped fighting against the 3D, my 3D started to change and I started experiencing the things I did want. We might not, I know I'm repeating myself, but I just think somebody needs to hear it. When shit shows up in reality, but you know damn well you've been doing what you've been told by whoever you watch. So in other words, you know your heart's intention is to have your manifestation. You know it. And you've been doing your best to be focused on that version of yourself, the you with the manifestation. Then if something is in reality, it is somehow to your benefit. It is somehow connected to you getting what you want. And we might not be able to make sense of that in the moment. I couldn't make sense of a breakup being me and him together. I could not see how that connected. It was the opposite. It looked like a large earthquake had just hit my house. That's what it felt like to me. But it led me to exactly what I wanted. So I just surrendered 3D. That's what someone out there needs to do. You got to surrender that 3D. That's surrendering doesn't mean you're settling for something you don't want. Surrendering 3D when the opposite is happening does not mean you're giving up on the person you want to manifest. It doesn't mean you got to settle for a relationship that you don't want to be in. And I know for some of you out there, you probably have a belief in there that you only get the guys or girls that you don't want and that you don't get the ones that you really, really want. I used to have that belief too. That's no longer true for you. Not if you're focused on your wish fulfilled. That's no longer your truth. So when reality presents you what looks like you're not going to get the person you want, and Manifesting with Kimberly is telling you to surrender and stop fighting against the 3D, that is not you saying, all right, I guess I'm not going to get that specific person. Guess I'm going to have to pick somebody else, somebody I don't even want to be with, because I can only get the ones I don't want. No, that's not what I'm telling you. We don't have to accept less. We just stop fighting and therefore being in the reality we don't want to be in. We want to be in the reality where we're fulfilled, happy, having the relationship with the person we want. How do we get there? By being aware of being there. Not out here wrestling and fighting, throwing chairs at reality. No. Nope. Fighting doesn't mean giving in. I'm sorry, reword. Surrendering doesn't mean giving in. Surrendering doesn't mean putting up with somebody's bullshit. Surrendering doesn't mean accepting someone being rude to you. That's not surrender. Surrendering is saying, I'm not going to interact with this reality anymore. I'm picking up my anchor and bringing it to the reality I want to be in. You want your specific person? Then think about the life with the person, treating you the way you want to be treated. When your mind wants to bring up past moments where they were asses to you, well, we are leaving that ass behind in that reality. So we don't have time to think about the past bullshit. We're busy focusing on the relationship and the version of your person that you want to experience. Your imagination is priceless. It's your luxury. So we're not going to give past bad memories, past bad moments, moments where they were not very nice to you. They're not allowed in our luxury house, which is our imagination. They're not allowed in here. Only the version of them that shows up treating you like a god or a goddess, that's the only time they're allowed in your luxury imagination. Okay? All right, on that note, I must go. It's dinner time. It's dinner time. We're having breakfast for dinner, and he's cooking the bacon, and it's going, so that means I got to get down there and start the pancakes. So thank you so much for joining me the day before my birthday, which I'm planning on going live at some point tomorrow for my birthday. I always do a birthday live. So thank you to all of you. We've been live for a while here, at least over an hour, I think. I hope you all have fabulous rest of your days. And as I am usually asked, yes, I'm going to save this. And yes, I'm going to post it on YouTube at some point. All right, Jesus, I'm shaking everything. All right, love you all. See you all. Have a